Cold in here.
We asked Nick earlier about the change in offensive coordinators. What sort of challenges does that do for a defense, not really knowing what they're going to run or how they're going to run it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it caught everyone off guard, kind of unexpected change. But all we have to go over is the film that they presented. And so, within any game, teams are going to run different things that they might not necessarily show on film or things that have worked against you. So we have to be able to adjust and adapt. But at the end of the day, all we can do is lock in on what they've shown thus far and try to do our best job and see what they come out with on Sunday.
After the Vegas game, you mentioned how the flight home, a lot of guys got together, were talking on that flight. In hindsight now, what did you guys discuss and has it come through on the field?
Yeah, I think the main focus was just making sure that we keep this thing tight and we stay together through it all, knowing that we experienced a lot of trials and tribulations. We doing this together?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we go out eat for lunch.
Where your chair?
No, just scoot over a little bit.
Where your chair, man?
All right, good. We ready.
All right. Yeah. So we pretty much, man, we just talked about just being together and getting through a tough time. But most importantly, that was our message, man, is we're going to find a way to get through this. And the best way we know how is to go back to work, to grind it out, stay together, believe in ourselves. And that's what you've seen. You've seen us continue to fight, continue to believe, regardless of what's been said outside this building, and it's paying off for us.
Do you remember that, Fletch, the flight back from Las Vegas?
It was terrible. Obviously not a good feeling for us. Obviously as a team you want to win, especially on a long flight like that. It kind of sucks when you're coming off of the way we lost that game and just losing basically on a long flight. I think that put a really bad taste in a lot of players' mouth in the locker room and just made guys just realize, if you really don't want that feeling, and do something about it.
What did you do on that flight? Do you remember?
What did I do on that flight? I stayed awake, honestly, so I could probably sleep when I get home. But obviously, you saw some guys talking, and you find out who the real guys are in the locker room. You find out who wanted more, and that's really that's always the biggest thing. You go around, you talk to guys, and you let them know that hey, it's not over. We still got a chance, and you guys listen, and that's what you want.
Rodney, we saw on the video of the locker room after this past game that Jalen was the guy that kind of broke him down. You've done a lot of the pre-stuff. I know he stepped in when you were injured. How's that maturation been going for him, about him kind of asserting his voice more as a leader?
Yeah, I felt it was time for us to hear from him, right? And Jalen, man, has been a strong voice and in this locker room and for this team for since the beginning, honestly. And honestly, we go as he goes. He's a leader, he's a warrior, and he's exemplified that in a lot of ways. But most importantly, through his actions. And so when he speaks, we listen. And so I felt, man, look, team needs to hear from you right now, and let's keep this thing going. And well said. And he's going to continue to show up and work, and we're going to continue to follow him.
So that was the first time he did it?
Nah, he's done it a couple other times too. Yeah.
When you look back at that Vegas game, was that one of the worst losses you guys have been a part of since you've been there? I know there was a bad one in 16, I think, in Cincinnati, but when you look back at it now, is it probably one of the worst ones?
I wouldn't say that was the worst loss since I've been here. It was one of the worst losses I've been, but definitely not the top one. I think the top one will be a couple years here. Here ago, we played Carolina. We was up, and we was up late in the fourth quarter and then came back and won the game. That's probably the worst loss of my career, and I always harp on that. But for me, definitely.
Both of you guys have been part of the 2018 and 2019 teams where you guys had similar slow starts and then, last-minute turnarounds down the stretch. Do you guys have to emphasize that as better leaders, that it is possible to turn things around after such a slow start?
I think, yeah, it's important to speak from experience, but at the end of the day, this is a new team, a new group of individuals, and we're going and we're all facing our challenges, this team challenges for the first time. So I think for us, it's cool to revert back to the past, but we have to just focus on the moment and see what works for this team. And man, Coach has expressed connecting and being together focusing on holding people accountable and the details, right? And we found that when we lock in on the details, when we compete at a high level, and when we stay together and come out with a mindset that no team can honestly, mess with us and we won't be denied, then we get the results that we want. So we just have to continue on with that and keep pushing forward.
How was JG kind of handled the ship in play callers for either of you guys?
For who, JG?
Yeah, has he brought up Freddie Kitchen in Cleveland? Has he kind of gone back to there? Or, as you said, Rodney, do you just have to lean on what the Giants have shown?
I think the biggest thing for us is just making it about us. We know that they probably going into a switch, and it's going to a division game. So basically, I think it comes down to, we kind of know them. They maybe know us from the film that we're watching, but I think the biggest thing for us is, making it about us. Making sure whatever JG calls that we're playing it in when everybody's doing their job and holding them accountable. And would they have some wrinkles? Yeah, I'm sure they will. But the biggest thing for us is just execute our game plan, as we've been doing, and just go out and put it on tape.
How important is it, the things you mentioned, saying keeping guys accountable, making sure you guys are focused on the work. Now that things kind of are going well, how important is it to stay consistent with that type of stuff?
It's huge, and that's what we talked about today in our team meeting is blocking out the noise that we heard when people didn't give us a chance, and it's the same thing now that we've had success over these past few games. We just have to be consistent, and I think if we do that, we'll be fine.
We've seen JG dial up some more blitzes the last 4 weeks. Some have been effective. What have you seen has been the difference?
Just execution. Us as players going out and executing our assignment, understanding our assignment, and then going out and getting it done. It's that simple, honestly. When we look back at the games that we lost, there's been a lot of mental errors. There's been mistakes on our part, and so as players, we take ownership in that, and we're responsible for that. So what you've seen is us eliminating those mistakes, being very detailed, playing at a high level, getting population to the ball, creating turnovers like Fletch did, and
you like that, didn't you?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They paid dividend for us, and we have to continue that as we go down the stretch. But more importantly, going against a division opponent on Sunday.
Hey, Rodney, what specifically did you do yesterday, and why was that important to you?
So went out into the community, Philadelphia, and was able to pass out some turkeys to over 200 families. Had some support from Slay and Zach and Dion. And my wife was there in our foundation, but it was a great time, man. And honestly, we understand what we're coming out of this pandemic and how this has created a lot of struggles and extended problems, like for a lot of families, and food insecurities. And so we wanted to be able to just help a lot of families out during this time of giving, and bring some cheer to their holidays and make sure that they have some food on their table to be able to support. And it's a good feeling, man. And Philadelphia is my family, and that's what you do.
All right, thanks, guys.